Yes, join with that computer audio. Join it right here with that computer damn audio. Okay, how you guys? Uh-oh, what just happened to me? Okay, I'm still here. Logan, sorry that I missed you today. Thank you for coming to the office hour. I was late to the office hour. I'll try to catch you soon again. People are coming in. We're going to try to do this class today. It will be interesting. I've been having technical and every kind of challenge possible today, including the sun. The sun outside is cloudy right now, which is also going to be part of my demonstration today. And yet I will persevere. So we'll be getting this together in just a second. Oh. Put that there. You guys, I'm moving around too much and you just can't see what I'm doing. Rosalind, okay, let's see. I'm going to open up the participants list for a second so I can see what's going on. I'm going to open up the chat for a second so I can see what's going on there. If you have any questions or hate mail for me, you can put it in the chat or put it in a personal message to the chat, and I will try not to actually say your personal message out loud when I'm reading these things. Alan is here. Alan, looks like I'm going to be your advisor. Thank you so much. This will be fun. I'm trying to do my advising during the office hour, which for me is supposed to be every day at noon. I was a little late to my office hour today, so try to catch me over the noon hour. Give me a couple of minutes to get here, so maybe 12:05, 12:07 before you try to log in. But I will be joining you, I promise, to get some advising done for you guys. Connor is here, page 2. All right, Logan, Connor, okay. Gabby here. There she is. Okay, Marion, Jordan, okay. Papa, okay. Marion is here. Okay. So far so good. Rosalind is here. That's all I got so far. Daniela is there. Look at that. Right there. Okay. All right. It's a couple minutes. Oh, it's the black crack of 1 o'clock if you go by my watch, which nobody does. Okay. I got a couple of things to demonstrate for you guys. This project that we're in the beginning, not quite in the middle of, we're in the middle of the unit on value. And so I'm even demonstrating a weird value thing today. I changed the direction of the camera, and I'm sitting closer to the camera. I've got a blackboard behind me and I'm wearing black, and my poor camera is trying to overcompensate. So because it sees so much black, it's over exposing the rest of the shot. And so my face is super hot, super overexposed. Let's see. I've got a whole bunch of overexposed, super hot, white washout value on my forehead and cheek and that kind of stuff. The camera is confused, and I'm not providing it a very good lighting situation, and so it's overexposing. And that's really a big part of understanding value. When we become photographers, videographers, when we're dealing with photographic imagery and shooting photographs, we have to be much more sensitive to lighting and light conditions for the photograph. My okay, I've got a part of my display my presentation has just blown over outside. So when I get to that point, I'm going to run outside and reset my light. So you'll have to bear with me when all that happens. What is he talking about? Okay. I wanted you guys to play with the idea of a 9-step value scale and trying to identify and create, color in the 9 steps on a value scale, from as light as you can possibly make marks with your pencil for the high key value, to the deepest key values that you could possibly make, as dark as you can go with your pencil, a medium key in the middle that is medium gray, halfway between the light and the dark, and then nice incremental value changes on that. That was step 1. We're going to use that thing now, that value scale, as one of the tools that we're going to use to analyze and then create a value study. And the value study is supposed to be a self-portrait. So I'm going to walk us through how I'd like you to do the self-portrait. I'm asking you guys to do a self-portrait, and whether you do it or not, you're going to need to get a photograph of somebody, and now we're going to process that photograph today. So I'm going to do a share screen and do some of this stuff for you guys in real time. I'm working in Zoom. I'm also working in Microsoft Office 365. And so I'm going to open up some photographs in Microsoft Office 365 that has a photo piece of software that is, very, very rudimentary at processing photography, but it will work for what we need to do today. So I'm going to my screen. Is it going to let me? It is. And I'm going to show all my windows because they're all here someplace. No. Okay, stop share. Let's try this again. I'm going to go one participant at a time, and it's me because I want to be that guy. Share screen. So show all my windows. Oh, there they are. Okay, I'm going to do this one first. Okay, finally. Gosh, okay. How wonderful for all of us. So I'm going to open this up just a little bit larger. This was one of the selfies that I took the other day. So now I am in the photo software for Office 365. And we have some things up here, some tools that we can work with. So I've got a crop tool. I'm going to start with that. Or I can go in here to edit and create, and I can click that. So either way, we're going to edit this photograph. And so now I have crop and rotate. I've got some filters, and I've got some adjustments, lighting adjustments that I can play with right here. I'm starting in crop and rotate because I want this face to be bigger, and I want to get rid of some of the extraneous crap in the background of this composition. There's a sign over my shoulder over here. The head is just way too small in the overall context of this. So if you guys have never cropped anything before, we're going to grab the handlebars on the corners of the photograph and pull them down. And as we do that, we're going to get rid of a lot of this background stuff. I'm going to pull this up. Now, and I'm going to pull this in. I'm going to get rid of this whole hand and bring the edge of the photograph in to about there. Okay, so now when I grab this, what activates here, and you saw that a little bit, are these snap lines that are at the 1/3 measurements in the composition. And so we've got these 9 boxes with these 2 vertical and 2 horizontal lines there. And so you can kind of size this up until we get, like the eyes, which are super important, could be sitting right on, that, or really close to that, that line. And so the eyes are a little bit above them, are close to a 1/3 thing. And that really goes back to our rule of thirds that your authors don't talk about, but that all designers and photographers use, including the people who set up this editing software. So now we've got the eyes on or about 1/3. I've got the head just a little bit off center to create a little bit of tension, a little bit of dynamic balance in the composition. More negative space on one side, less negative space on the other side. And so this is working pretty good for me. So I like the cropping. I'm going to do the next thing. I'm going to go into filters up here and click filters, and then come over here to where all the filters are. I want a black and white photograph. So I'm going to have to apply one of these black and white filters until I get a black and white photograph. I'm vanilla, huh? That's really nice. Okay, a black and white photograph that gives me the most contrast so that I can play with the values in this composition. The colors have been changed to a gray scale. So now I'm definitely using all of the shades of gray that would be on a 9-step value scale. Fantastic. I tried to print this out this morning several times and found that the printout was a lot darker than what was on my monitor. So I'm going to go up in here, let's see, to the adjustments. Okay, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to go up to adjustments now. I'm clicking on the adjustments thing, and now I've got several different tools that I can work with. This first tool that says light over here is actually your brightness thing. So I can push this up a lot higher till I get about 3/4 or 4/5 of the way up. And that gives me a lot brighter composition to work with. So when I'm wearing a dark jacket like this, I still can see the medium and low-key values in this thing. I can see low-key shadows, I can see high-key highlights, and I can see medium-key light on all of the medium to low-key folds, drapery folds in the jacket. So that makes me happy. The flesh tones are in a medium range, so I can work with them. The background is really interesting. I'm going to do this. So I would save this and then print it out, and that would give you a photograph to work with. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this one. I'm going to go to the next one because you guys are so interested in this. So where am I now? I want to see more stuff. So I used this photograph here. This is going to be the photograph that I came up with. And so I'm going to be using this to actually try to trace the image through a piece of typing paper, through a piece of computer paper, onto the paper, so that I just have a drawing that represents all of the shadow shapes and all of the highlight shapes in this composition. And you're saying, you don't see any shadows, you don't see any highlights, but there are shadows and highlights. There's a hot highlight right on the tip of the nose here. There's a highlight, there's a photographic highlight inside of each eyeball, right by the pupil. There are highlights on every surface like a cheek, and then there are shadow edges or shadow boundaries, and then there are shadings or shadows on a lot of forms here. So like the smile line here has a shadow boundary, and then a highlight in the cheek area. There's a cheekbone over here. So on the outside of the cheekbone, there's a shadow boundary, and there's a lit portion or a highlight portion on the top of that cheekbone over there. My cheekbones are not great, but that's the thing. Okay, on the head, there's a highlight right in the middle of the head here. This is brighter, this is more lit than coming over here where there's a plane that is not reflecting as much light to the camera. So this is a shadow. This would be considered a shadow shape that I want you to try to circle. And we're going to try to draw the outline of that highlight of that shadow shape, and then later on we're going to apply a value to it. On the outside edge of the head, there's actually reflected light out here. This edge has more light on it than this shadow shape does here, or this highlight does right here. And so that's going to be a separate shape. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this one for a second, and I'm going to go, I hope this works. This is going to be my next thing here. Checking the chat to see if anybody wrote anything. I don't see any hands up, so let's go over to the window and try something. So I'm going to use the window as a light box, a light table, and I'm going to try to trace that image that I printed out on a printer. I've got it printed out on bond paper, regular computer paper, and it is somewhat transparent. And I'm going to take another piece of computer paper and put it over the top of it, and then see what I can do in terms of tracing the outlines of those shadow shapes and highlight shapes through the paper onto the next piece of paper. So I'm coming over to do that. We're going to put this up right on top of the other piece of paper so that it registers. And I'm going to put some more tape on here to tape this one in place. This was supposed to be a bright sunny day today, and the sun was supposed to be shining through this this window so that I could really see it really well, but it isn't. But you can still see the ghost of an image here. And when I'm up close to this thing, I can see the ghost of this image really good. So I'm going to try to do this fast so that you guys just don't freak out looking at this stuff. I'm actually going to use a pen to do this, so hopefully it shows up for you guys just a little bit better. I'm going to hold the pen back a ways from the end of the pen. I'm going to try to do this as if I was drawing with a pencil. So I'm trying to do all of the shapes that I see in here. There's an eye, there's the pupil of the eye, and there's that hot highlight on that eye. And there's a shadow shape underneath that eye because I've got, I got all kinds of problems. I'm an old guy. I've got, wrinkles and stuff. So we're going to, again, there's the eyelid, there's the edge of the iris, there's the pupil, there's that little highlight inside the pupil, bottom lid. And I want you guys to try to have, relax your death grip on the pencil, because there's going to be, I'd like you to try to use what we call in a drawing class a gesture line. A gesture line is kind of a line that kind of goes in and out and all around, trying to find contours for things. And so gesture lines are just, I'm using a gesture line to try to find the outside edges of certain shadow shapes and highlight shapes in the composition. And so I'm holding the pencil or the pen lightly. I'm holding it back a couple inches back from where I would normally hold it if I was going to be doing writing with the pen. And I'm trying to find all of these shadow shapes that I talked about. There's the smile line. I've got a really diffuse, what do we call that? Amorphous shape for the beard and mustache. And so I'm going to just try to, do something about the beard and mustache. Coming over here to the ear. Everybody hates doing ears. You guys all hate doing ears because ears you think are hard. But all you have to do is try to follow the shadow shapes and the highlight shapes on all of the cartilage on the ear. And pretty soon you're going to populate that ear with a bunch of stuff that later on we're going to be able to figure out as ear cartilage and ear forms, and we're going to be able to do it just fine. I'm going to follow this down like this. There's some shadows over here. There's that reflected light over there. There's this shadow shape here. There's a highlight right here on that part of the head. There's shadows here in the corners of the mouth, and lots and lots of S-curves for the longer white hairs on the beard. And there's going to be a ton of texture there. I can see all of my things on the jacket here that are, here's the collar of the jacket. And oh my God, my pen is running out of ink. So this is going to kind of come to I'm going to change to a pencil real quick here to try to finish this up. Changing to a pencil because I've got all of this background that I find interesting, and I think that that might be fun to have in the drawing, in the composition. I've got trees back here that kind of create a whole bunch of broccoli in the background. So I've got all these broccoli stalks and all of these broccoli heads back up in here. And I'm going to use my pencil with a very quick and deft and aggressive and playful gesture line to try to follow the shapes of all of this broccoli and just get it all sort of recorded in here in the background. And what have I got? Shadow shapes and highlight shapes. And I lost a lot of this stuff as my pen was running out of ink because the day has been like that. Let me tell you, this day, so there's a highlight right here on this cheekbone, and there's a shadow here, and there's a highlight here, and there's a cast shadow here, and highlight, and so you wind up with something that kind of looks like a topographical map of the face, which is fantastic because all we need is the outlines of a lot of the shadow shapes so we can play with them. I'm going to take this down. I'm going to bring it over to my workspace, my computer, and then I'm going to shift camera angles again so that I can see you and you can see me. Okay, so that's coming down off of there. And we're coming back here to the full face camera angle. And so what I was trying to do here, there we go, is create a line drawing of the, and it's a gestural line. So it's a very soft, it's a very fluid, it's a very moving kind of a line that I can use as the basis for my drawing later on. And so as I figure out how to hold this piece of paper, I can take all of the visual cues that are in that drawing then, and I can apply the values from the photograph into the drawing, and I can check them against the values in my 9-step value scale. And when I do the actual drawing demonstration on Friday, I'm going to have those 3 things on my real desktop, not virtual desktop, but real desktop. I'm going to have the drawing in the center. I'm going to have the, where are they? Here they are. I'm going to have a photograph on the desktop, and I'm going to have the line drawing too, so that I can look at the photograph and see what the values are in the photograph, then translate those values, and I'm going to show you how, into the drawing, and I'm going to check them against the values that are in the value scale. So we want to use all 3 things simultaneously at the same time to build a value drawing. This drawing is probably going to take about somewhere between 4 and 8 hours to do. So I'd like you to make sure that you're willing to spend that much time on a drawing, especially those of you who've never drawn before, because it's going to take a little bit of time to develop this drawing. I will be here to help. I'm going to help you guys, get out of the weeds if you wander into the weeds, metaphorically, while you're doing your drawing. I'm going to try to help you navigate all of this. So I'm going to be demonstrating how to draw, how to create values, do certain kinds of mark making. I'm going to do it sort of along the lines of that book that I was demonstrating out of last week or early this week, I can't remember, Paul Cal's The Pencil. I'm going to actually make pencil marks, pencil strokes, hash marks, and cross-hatching marks that are going to follow the contours in the face. So if they're, if they're trying to do this kind of value on this surface, they might be running at a diagonal. Which way is the diagonal? I can't do it. I can't do it in a mirror. That's the hard part. Contours that actually follow and wrap around the contours in the face. It's almost like sculpting two-dimensionally, on a drawing. Using the drawing surface, looking at the contours of the face, and actually trying to wrap kind of cross-contour wise, doing kind of cross-contour mark making to create the values that we're going to do. So I'm going to play with that. I'm going to show you that. My values are going to be fairly open value composition values. That's referring to the last thing that your authors talk about in this chapter, closed value compositions and open value compositions. And so there aren't going to be really hard and fast and sharply defined edges to a lot of these shapes unless there's a really sharply defined contrast between things. The glasses are in super high, sharply defined contrast to the skin around them. And so the glasses are going to have a fairly sharply defined value. But some of the shadow shapes in the composition have soft, diffuse edges to them. They're more amorphous shapes, these shadow shapes. And so they're going to have soft, modulated edges moving from highlight to shadow edge to shaded portion. God, I can't do it in a mirror. Shaded portions of the shadow. And so we're going to be looking at the qualities of each shadow to see, are the edges of the shadow soft? Are the edges of the shadow sharply defined? And then every time you make that determination, then that's how you're going to draw those things onto your drawing. I do all of this scaffolding and creating a format for you guys so that you can, if you don't have any drawing skill or very limited drawing skill, you'll still have a lot of help in being able to put together a drawing that looks like something. You know, you don't have to worry that, oh, I've never drawn before and this is still going to be terrible and it's going to look bad. It will be a hot mess, and I will walk you through the process, and I'm going to try to help you guys learn and also get out of the weeds if you get if funny things start happening with your drawing when we get into it. But you're going to have to take this leap of faith with me that you will be able to develop a drawing. It's going to be a fairly complex drawing. It's going to take 4 to 6 hours of drawing time to draw on it, but you're going to be able to do a value study of a human face, and it's going to be fairly naturalistic and representational, and I'll walk you through the entire process. So last week and on Monday, I was asking you guys to do the value scale, the 9-step value scale from high key, medium key to low key. You're going to need that to be finished so that you've got that as a tool to work with. I'm asking you to take a selfie of yourself, and you probably need to take a dozen or 20 of them to find the best one with the best lighting situation, the most flattering angle on your face, the most flattering expression on your face. Choose that one, and that's the one that you're going to take through this process that I just walked you through, where you're going to want to crop the thing down to where the face is, maybe where the eyes are on the 1/3 line, that upper 1/3 line, and turn it into a grayscale. Take it from a color photograph and apply a grayscale filter to it so that it is grayscale, and maybe bump up the brightness a little bit so that it's a little bit brighter than it looks up, than it is comfortable looking on the screen. But that way then it will print out on a printer. You'll need to take that file and print it out on your own printer, or take it to the computer labs or the library and print it out on their printer. Or if there's a printer available in student housing, you know, take it to that commons area in student housing. Maybe there's a printer there that you can use. Otherwise, you got to go across the street to Staples and get it printed out at Staples. But you're going to need a printout of your photograph on computer paper so that we've got something to work with. This is going to be what's going to be needed to then put another piece of paper on top of, and then tape these two to a window and use the window as a light table to be able to trace the edges of the contours of shadow shapes in here so that you've got something to work with. We're going to then do a paint by number. We're going to actually do this as a scaffolded and directed drawing to walk you through the drawing process to apply all of the values in all of the right places and with all the right amounts so that it's a convincing value study drawing of a human. Hopefully it's going to be of you. That'll be good. Okay, do you mind seeing some rips on the paper? I don't mind seeing rips on the paper. I've never minded rips on the paper. That would be just fine. This is the first time that I've ever tried to do it this way. When I have students in a classroom, I have used opaque projectors. I have used digital projectors to project the image onto the wall or onto a bulletin board in a darkened room. And then we put up the actual Bristol board itself, and we've done this drawing, this line drawing on the Bristol board. tracing all of these shadow shapes and highlight shapes onto the Bristol board. The Bristol board is opaque, and there's no way that it will work with a light table kind of an approach to it. So we're going to have to go back to computer paper, a bond kind of computer paper, so that you can achieve this kind of a drawing on that. And that's going to be the basis for our drawing. Then we're going to spend a week drawing this thing. So by Friday, I hope you can get a ways into creating the selfie, cropping and changing the selfie into a grayscale photograph and getting it printed out. I'm going to start demonstrating the actual drawing process on Friday, and then I'm going to do it again on Monday. And I will answer your questions if you've got questions. And we can do screen shares if you want to show me your project, or you can hold it up to the webcam and we can show me your project. And we can try to fix things that you think are going sideways or wrong, or I can point out things that will make your drawing better. And a lot of it is going to be, I'm going to get ahead of myself now, so I'm not going to jinx that. So I will demonstrate and walk with you through the process of making this drawing. Okay, I've talked a lot. It's about half past or so. Gosh, I wonder if I'm actually, hey, I'm recording this too. What a deal. So I can actually post this as a recording. And if you need to come back to this and look at it again, please feel free to skip through the boring parts. But these, all of these YouTube recordings are in my Laker link in e-learning, and you're going to have to scroll down quite a ways to get to the bottom, because the most recent ones are at the bottom and they're not visible on the screen. So you need to scroll down to find something like this one if you want to see this demonstration again. I think I'm going to call it a day for now and put this one up, and then hold on for Friday, because Friday is going to be the demonstration of the drawing process. And I think everybody's going to have a lot of fun and some challenges doing this drawing over the next week or so. So thanks for now. Have a good rest of the day. I'll see you on Friday afternoon. Good luck with this. It'll be fun. Uh-oh, I've lost my end button. So here we go. Bye-bye. Oh, so excited for Friday.